Morning. It's Monday, April 26th, and New York City, like many other places in the country, I think, is getting set to loosen the crowd size limits. Today, in fact, at zoos, museums, and movie theaters. And Disneyland Resort in California is ready to reopen on Friday, and Delta Airlines on Saturday is poised to sell middle seats again. And it just so happens that my daughter, who came for a visit this week from Atlanta because the middle seats were still empty, she will be leaving Friday after spending a week with us. And she deliberately planned her visit this week because the middle seats were going to be empty. And that brings me to the point of my rant this morning. Are we really, really ready to open all these things up? All these events, the movie theaters, the zoos, the museums, the middle seats? Have we beaten the virus, the evil COVID-19, so badly that we can move ahead like this? There are many in my universe who are fully vaccinated, but still cautious in preparing to go through their daily lives. We have the opportunity to return to the local community center for in-person meetings with an attendance restriction. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it won't be more than 15 people in a room at any one time. And if there are other participants who want to attend this meeting, they could do it via Zoom. But there are many of these people, many of my universe, who are still reluctant to be in a crowd. And the question that was asked of the leaders of our community center, will everybody in attendance be required to be fully vaccinated? The answer to the question was no. The community center leaders cannot put such a restriction on the attendees. It is deemed to be a form of discrimination by the powers that be, not by the leadership of the community center. This comes down from the lawmakers somewhere. I find it unreasonable, almost unconscionable, that there is such a law. This is not a discriminatory action. We don't consider people who refuse to get vaccinated dumb, and we're not taking advantage of the group, like those who are trying to eliminate the Asian population. We're not trying to do that. We're doing this for safety reasons. So it's okay to make the people who are vaccinated, it's okay to make them suffer by not recognizing the fact that they are fearful of catching an infection. We're not protecting those, but we're protecting those who refuse to get vaccinated and put the rest of the population at risk. Does that make any sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I guess if you look at the big picture, this is because there has been good news in New York. Hospitalizations have gone down below the city's threshold. So while they're opening up the zoos and the museums, etc., they still have limits on the capacities. The museums and zoos can increase capacity to 50%, and movie theaters can increase to 33%. And in addition to that, large indoor arenas can raise capacity to 25%. And they've done some of this because of the NBA playoffs, which are coming up in May. And they're doing this increase in attendance rules because there has been a decrease in infections, at least in New York City. And statewide, there's good news, too. The statewide positivity rate is under 3%, and so the lowering infection rate is why the governor raised the capacity rate. And bars and restaurants were seeing some relief too. The curfews will move from 11 p.m. to midnight. Many bar owners had pleaded for the curfew to be lifted. The curfews, of course, were affecting business. So moving the curfews is definitely a step in the right direction. And that's a good thing. It'll give people hope that we may be coming near the end of the fight. Now, near the end of the fight, in my mind, means that we're probably 6 months away from somewhat normal lifestyle. Somewhat normal. I don't know how normal we will ever get back to being, at least in my lifetime and in the lifetime of my universe. But of course, a lot of that is based upon continuing to vaccinate and continuing to act smart. I'm not so sure that most of the population in the United States feels that way about it. We have watched how smart they have all been over the past year or so. We have watched that 15 or 18, some ridiculous number of states has no mask mandate at all. So I don't know that we'll get back to true normal living that quickly. Meanwhile, the state of New York has continued its vaccination efforts, and more than 5.5 million New Yorkers are fully vaccinated as of Monday morning. I don't know how many other states can say something like that. So in any event, things are looking brighter, at least around the New York region, and hopefully this move to increase capacities and increase, or I guess decrease, the curfew time will not cause COVID-19 to erupt. So let's look on the bright side. Things are getting a little bit better, even though there is a ridiculous law. And so I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye.